Ukrainian forensic expert Vitaliy Levchenko told Unian in an interview about the condition in which the Russian Federation returns the bodies of the deceased defenders of Ukraine, whether there are signs of torture on them, and how the identification is carried out. Following negotiations in Istanbul in late spring, a large-scale repatriation took place. Ukraine managed to return the bodies of over 6,000 fallen defenders. A complex identification process is currently underway, which, according to Interior Minister Ihor Klymenko, could take over a year. Investigators, forensic experts, and criminologists work on this every day. Their mission is extremely difficult and at the same time vital, to allow people to bury their relatives who gave their lives for Ukraine with dignity. Unfortunately, the process is complicated, among other things, by the fact that the Russian side, either deliberately or through negligence, mixes up the bodies of Ukrainian and Russian fallen soldiers. This forces Ukrainian specialists to conduct additional examinations, which not only increases the workload but also significantly delays the process. Identifying such a large number of bodies is always a complex, time-consuming process. At the first stage, an initial inspection is carried out, the purpose of which is to record the numbers provided by the Russian side, check for the presence of explosive devices, weapons elements that may remain in the packages with the bodies. It is possible that items will be found that will allow us to start checking some data. The bodies are then stored in refrigerated trucks. The forensic and investigative phases of the work begin. All forensic medical examination bureaus of Ukraine are involved in this. They provide information to the main bureau of the CME on how many bodies they can accept at this time. Logistics routes are then built. The bodies from the refrigerated trucks are transported by representatives of civil-military cooperation. Forensic experts, investigators, and criminologists examine these bodies, select all necessary biological samples, and make a description. After the examination, the experts, depending on the situation, order and conduct various examinations: genetic, DNA, forensic, odontology, dental examination, dactyloscopy, fingerprints, etc. As identification progresses, the bodies begin to be given to relatives for burial. Thus, places for examination are freed up, and the bureaus resubmit applications for accepting new bodies, he added. Recently, the Minister of Internal Affairs, Ihor Klymenko, noted in his interview that the bodies repatriated by the Russian side are in very poor condition. They were stored in inappropriate conditions. From my experience, this is how it is. They are all in a state of deep putrefaction, often skeletonized. The Russian side does not sort the bodies. There are frequent cases when it transfers 3 or 4 bodies in one package. It is also known about the transfer of the bodies of Russian soldiers by it. Therefore, it is very difficult to predict how much time it will take. The head of the Ministry of Internal Affairs announced that the identification of the bodies will take approximately 13 months. I think we will still cope faster, but it is impossible to specify the exact time, he said. The traditional festive military parade in honor of Navy Day will not take place in the Russian city of Baltisk on July the 27th. This was reported by local media. The reasons for the cancellation are not specified. The press service of the Baltic Fleet, as well as the administration of the city district, are silent. Apparently, this year, Russians will not see a single naval parade anywhere. Earlier, the authorities of St. Petersburg took a similar step. For the first time in a long time, the main naval parade, which was traditionally attended by Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, will not take place there. The formal reason given was security measures, but no official details were given. A similar situation is observed in the Far East. According to local media, the ceremonial events that have been cancelled in Vladivostok and Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky. Here, too, we are talking about precautionary measures, although no direct reason has been given. The abrupt refusal to hold large-scale parades in strategically important coastal regions is a reaction to the increasing frequency of attacks by Ukrainian drones. In recent years, Ukrainian drones have repeatedly penetrated deep into Russian territory, including striking military infrastructure, including airfields, ships, and warehouses. The cancellation of such symbolic events, especially in the midst of a war, may indicate that the Kremlin is no longer confident in its ability to guarantee security, even at official celebrations. Outgunned, outmanned, and outspent, Ukrainian troops have kept up the fight against invading Russian forces for more than 3 years. They might easily have been routed were it not for Kiev's mass deployment of drones. Tens of thousands of the relatively cheap and expendable machines are now buzzing back and forth over the front lines, pinpointing Russian positions, gathering intelligence to anticipate impending assaults, colliding with enemy targets, or dropping bombs on them. By early 2025, drones were accounting for 60% to 70% of the damage and destruction caused to Russian equipment in the war, according to UK-based think tank, the Royal United Services Institute. Russia's military has developed a rival drone force and drawn up a traditional strength in electronic warfare to upgrade its anti-drone technology. Yet, Ukraine's highly adaptable drones continue to expose gaps and vulnerabilities in Russian defenses. In early June, drones launched from trucks hit airfields as far from the front as Siberia, damaging part of Russia's nuclear-capable long-range bomber fleet, according to Ukrainian officials.